wonderful day so far. So I wanted to take a look at some of the questions that you asked or you wondered about when you listened to that book woman. I was really impressed with the questions that many of you asked. You had some really, great ideas, great things to look into. Some of the same questions I had when I read the book. So I just wanted to let you know I think you did a great job. So these were some of the questions that you shared on Flipgrid, and some of them were similar. So I kind of combined some of the questions a little bit. So if you wanted to go and check out what some of your classmates had to say, feel free to go and go back to the Flipgrid to look at everybody's else's questions. But let's dive into these. So the first question was, where does the family live and how long does it take to get to their house? So someone mentioned that they noticed that they lived, up in a mountain, but they were curious about, how long it would take to get there and just a little bit more information about that. Someone asked why the bookwoman has gold coins. So we'll take a look at that. A few people mentioned why does Cal dislike books or dislike reading? And then people also asked, and this was kind of connected, why he was so mad, so angry, upset at the beginning of the story, and why he didn't like, his sister playing school, and why he was so upset about that. And then someone else also asked, what does reckon mean? So there were probably a lot of words, like I shared in my question about the book. There were a lot of questions about some of the words and their meanings I know that I had. So we'll try to answer what does reckon mean? All right. So for the first one, where does the family live and how long does it take to get to their house? Let's go into the text and see if we can find out some more information. So in the very beginning of the book, it says, my folks and me, we live way up, as up can get, so high we hardly sight a soul, 'cept hawks a wingin' in the sky and critters hid among the trees. So I actually don't think that it really said any more in the text about specifically where they live. So I turned to the back and I looked at the author's note, which we will read, but I went to look at the author's note to find a little bit more information. So it says, this story was inspired by the true and courageous work of the Packhorse librarians who were known as bookwomen in the Appalachian Mountains of Kentucky. So the story is based on what would happen in the Appalachian Mountains of Kentucky. It says the Packhorse Library Project was founded in the 1930s. So this is also taking part, almost 100 years ago, where the roads and certain things weren't built that make it easier to get to certain places. So this, being in the past, there were not as many roads and things built. So I think that, answered our question. So let's go back and add that to the chart. Okay, so I added Appalachian Mountains in Kentucky, and I did pull up a map just to show you. Here is where we live in Pennsylvania, right there, and then here is Kentucky. So a state, not super far away from Pennsylvania where we live, but we're right about here, and then here is Kentucky, and that's the area that we're talking about in this text. As far as the how long it takes, I just read in the author's note that it said the Packhorse librarians would go on 2-week routes. So basically they would go out and travel for 2 weeks, taking the books and then just kind of keep taking that same route. So I don't know that we can answer that question for sure of how long it takes to get to their house, but we do know that they live it's set in the Appalachian Mountains, which is in the state of Kentucky. And at this time period, there were not built roads that made it easy to get to where the characters lived. That it was very difficult, and that was why they would have to take horses or other animals because it was hard to get to. So another remote location, right? All right. So I think we'll leave that in the answers in progress if we learn some more information, but that's where the story takes place. Okay, why does the bookwoman have gold coins? So I'm going to go back to the story. Okay, so I think the person that asked the question might be talking about this part of the book where it says the bookwoman had just gotten to the family's house. She's showing the books, and the they're saying that they don't have any shiny coins to spend, so that the family doesn't have any money to give the bookwoman because they don't yet know or don't understand that she is a librarian where they can just borrow the books and they don't have to pay for them. So I think that's what they were. I think that's what the person was asking about, where it said, um, "It's but a plain and simple fact. We have no greenbacks here, no shiny coins to spend." So greenbacks would be like the paper money, the bills, and then the coins, of course. But it's not that the bookwoman has it; it's that the family is saying, "We can't pay you for these books. We don't have the coins or the money to give you for these books." So I think that was what the question was. So let's add that to our chart. Okay, and back to that question as well, I know that they describe the bookwoman as having treasure, but the treasure that she has isn't in coins, but it's books. That's right. So the treasure is in books. All right, the next question asked about Cal in the beginning, and you can see from this page that he does not look very happy about, why he doesn't like reading, why he doesn't like books. So at this part, he's saying that well, the page before says that that Lark, his sister, is the readinest child you ever did see. So Lark is always reading, loves to read books, and likes to play school. That we hear here that she plays the teacher, and he says, "Not me. I was not born to sit so stony still, a staring at some chicken scratch." So chicken scratch is like it's writings or text that it's like it doesn't make sense to the person looking at it. It's just like it's not real words or real writing that makes sense. But he's saying that looking in a book to him is like looking at chicken scratch, which means that he cannot what at the beginning of the book. He doesn't know how to read, which I think we is fair to say is why he dislikes books so much and doesn't understand, because he himself doesn't know how to read. Okay. And then, we can see, he's not very happy when the bookwoman first comes, and, he doesn't want to have to trade the berries that he picked. He doesn't want to pay for the books. He doesn't see them as treasures at the beginning of the book. So I think it's because he doesn't know how to read is really why he's so upset and does not like the books. Okay, so I came back to the chart and I added, for why does Cal dislike books, I put he cannot read at the beginning of the book, at the beginning of the story. And then why he's so mad, I think we talked a little bit about that, because I think those two questions are related, why he doesn't like books and why he's so angry at the beginning. And I wrote again that Cal cannot read and he doesn't want to trade anything for the books, and he doesn't understand why, people would think books are so special, or why this woman would travel the way that she is to bring the family books, and he just doesn't understand. And he can't and can't or would not sit like Lark and read, because he can't. It doesn't make sense to him. He thinks it's useless, pointless. He's not interested. Okay. And our last question here, what does reckon mean? So I'm going to go back to the story and find that part of the text and see if we can answer, what does reckon mean? Okay, so I found the part in the book where we see the word reckon. So this is the time where the pack horse librarian, or the bookwoman, first comes, says, "You can borrow these books and I'll come back." And then she's leaving. So this page says, "Now me, I do not care one hoot for what that bookwoman has carried round, and it would not bother me at all if she forgot the way back to our door. But here she'll come right through the rain and fog and cold. That horse of hers sure must be brave, I reckon. So that horse of hers sure must be brave, I reckon. Okay, so the way I see this word is, that horse of hers sure must be brave, I reckon. I think what it means is it's almost the same as saying that horse of hers sure must be brave, I would imagine, or like I would guess. So it's when you're making a statement or having an opinion about something and you say like, I reckon is another way of saying I think or I would imagine. And this is just from this area where this family lives. As you notice, he's using some different words in different language that maybe we haven't heard before. But I reckon we'll add that to the chart means you know to think something, to imagine or believe that that's what whatever the statement is. So let's hop back over to the chart. All right, so I have added reckon means to think something, or I will add to think something or believe something to be true. So it's kind of used like in casual conversation. If you were, talking about something and you'd say, it looks like it's cold out, I guess. You could say, it looks like it's cold out, I reckon. Could kind of be used in the same way. So that is what reckon means. And again, you guys had some really great questions. I think you did a awesome job with these questions. We will keep talking about the book woman and talk about the story elements and be able to get in a little bit more into Cal and his reading and how he feels about books and how and why that changes over the course of the story. So you can just send this activity blank, or if you want to put a check mark just to say that you have completed watching this learning video for today, that would be great. And keep up the great work. Thanks, guys. Bye.